Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This is the very first episode of Game and Makeup.
The very first episode of Game and Makeup. That's awesome. What is that? I don't even know what that is, and I'm on the show.
This is a podcast. First and foremost. This is a podcast. So the way that this little show is going to work, we've been thinking about it for a long time starting this. It's
Absolutely.
been a couple months.
Definitely. Almost a year.
Have we?
I think so. I think we've met.
We met more than a year ago.
That's true.
So the way this little ditty works is, well, if you can't tell from the spark between us,
the rapid, the intense chemistry,
it was super
spewing
mega
forth from into your ears and onto your video screens.
Yeah, we've been dating. You asked me to date you, and you asked me on a date in 2017, and here we are.
Yep, November of 2017. It was after the Overwatch Halloween event.
That's a good way to remember.
That's how I always remember.
Yeah, you bought a skin and then you sold your heart.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Well, we've been dating for a while, and we realized that we have very different game tastes, despite us both being wholly invested in video games as a genre.
Absolutely.
Which is why we're dating, a big reason.
Absolutely.
I would say so.
Games are an important part of who we are and what we do on a daily basis, and a couple activities, I would say.
A few other things.
Yeah, mostly video games.
Yeah, so I don't think we've ever gotten into a fight, but the closest we've gotten into a fight is talking about either a game I really love. I feel like most of the time it's a game I really love that you hate.
Yeah, because you like dumb games.
Or a game you like that is also stupid.
Sure.
So we thought about how this might be actually a fun way to host a new podcast, where the way that the format's going to go is I'm going to bring, or Michael is going to bring a game that we're really passionate about.
I'm Michael, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I'm Haley. Wow, probably should have said that sooner.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring a game that Michael might like it, but I know for a fact this first one you don't like it.
Absolutely. This game sucks.
Anyways, save it for the podcast.
We're on the podcast right now.
Save it for later, the podcast. And then other days, Michael is going to get me to play a game that I might not necessarily like. Sure. And then we're just going to talk about it and figure out maybe why we have those different tastes, but yet we still like each other a little bit. Maybe that might be the theme. Yeah,
we're just going to be a nice debate, questionnaire sort of format.
We got some listener questions.
Absolutely. Lots of listener questions already for our first episode, which is very exciting.
Which made us hyped today, I think.
Absolutely.
A lot of questions rolled in, and then we were thinking about recording tomorrow, and we're like, nah, let's do it tonight.
Let's do it tonight.
So we're excited.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it, do it live. Now we're explicit. Now we have to put an E on the episode.
It's okay. We're 3 minutes in. We won't get flagged by YouTube.
True, actually. Right. Whoa, I didn't even think of that. Good call.
Yep.
So, in case you haven't read the title of this podcast episode, the very first episode, we're going to be talking about The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. A game very, very close to... I know you're going to lean in and say this game sucks.
No, I'm not.
You just were about to.
No, it wasn't.
This game is very, very close to my heart. I absolutely love this game. I think I've played this game about 6 or 7 times, all the way through.
Sure.
How many times have you played this game?
I played this game, well, twice, technically, but... I mean, yeah, twice. We'll get into this a little bit later, I guess, but originally played it back in 2006 on the Nintendo Wii, and I recently replayed it. To be honest, not all of it. We'll get into why not all of it soon, but I just recently replayed the Wii U HD version in the last couple weeks, so it's very fresh in my mind. Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it in a few years, but I researched and revamped my memory on a lot of what happens to this game.
Certainly.
Strangely though, the only place I've ever played this is the Wii.
You never played the Wii U version?
I never played. You know that because when I lent it to you, it was still wrapped in cellophane.
Right, absolutely.
And you said, "Why haven't you played this?"
Yeah, I mean, I know why you haven't.
Why?
It's bad. Nailed it.
No, because I don't like how the world is inverted. Anyways.
Well, before we get into all that, Haley, why don't you tell me about The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess? Contextualize it for me. For our listeners who might not be aware of one of the biggest franchises in the world.
Oh, I really thought you were going to take that to a negative place.
No, not negative at all.
Well, I'm proud.
Thanks.
Well, yeah, okay, so Twilight Princess, in case you're not aware and you just want to learn about a super old game, it's the 13th Zelda game.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Did you not know that?
I mean, I guess I always forget the handheld ones. No, I love all those games too. Yeah. But go. Yeah.
So it was originally planned to be an exclusive release on the GameCube in 2005, and they marketed it as such.
Yep.
And then that was right when the Wii was getting released. So they said, give us almost a year. This is going to come out on both. So it came out November 2016. Came out November 2006.
Yep.
And it was the best-selling Zelda game until Breath of the Wild.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Skyward Sword sold less than this.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But when you think about it, it's a launch title.
Sure.
You're going to pick up your Wii. You're getting Wii Sports for free, and then you got to grab something. You're going to grab a Zelda.
Absolutely.
That's why Breath of the Wild beat it, because it was a Switch launch.
Fair enough.
Like, that's why I bought that game, because it was 2 a.m. and I wanted to play something.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's sold, since 2015, I read online, it sold 8.5 million copies.
Is that just on the Wii and are those, because I know Nintendo's weird.
I think that's just Wii.
Just Wii,
I
right?
think.
So it came on the GameCube. It was a simultaneous launch, correct? On the GameCube and the Wii?
I think the GameCube might have come out a little after, to be honest.
A little after?
I think.
Okay.
I think. Don't quote me on that.
Sure.
I don't have that in my notes.
Sure.
Anyways, it takes place in the... We gotta contextualize the timeline.
Okay.
I know you...
You're getting to the Zelda timeline
I'm
right
getting
now?
to the Zelda timeline.
Oh,
I know
God.
you don't care for it, and you think it's a bunch of hoopla.
10 people just clicked. It's
I know,
closed
we
to
just
me.
lost
Like,
a lot
I don't
of
want to talk
people.
about that. But go ahead.
All right, I'll talk. It's the child timeline.
Which child timeline? There's 2 of them, correct?
No, there's only one. There's the fallen hero, and there's the child, and there's the adult timeline.
Okay.
Don't test me on this.
I'm not. Go ahead.
So in this timeline, this includes a lot of the stuff that happened after Ocarina of Time, and then it splits off, and it includes Majora's Mask,
Yeah.
Twilight Princess,
Right.
and I think Four Swords Something Adventure. The one I never played that one.
No.
I don't
You
know.
didn't have 3 Game Boy Advances and 3 GameCubes. And
You
3
needed
friends.
3?
I think so.
Okay, well that's why I never had any of that.
I'm maybe thinking of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, but something along those lines.
Sure.
Sure.
So this follows Link back into the time at the end of Ocarina of Time. So Majora's Mask, we see Link leave to find Navi, and then it's kind of insinuated that he just dies. Like, he's just gone forever. No one ever... I think it says it in the game, and he was never seen again or something.
In Majora's Mask?
I think, right?
No.
Well, he was never seen again.
Okay.
And then, so then there's a few events that happen between Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess.
Sure.
The lore.
Yeah.
As you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's when Ganon was going to be put to death for his crimes, but he escaped. He killed one of the 7 sages while he escaped.
Right.
And then that kind of catapulted... he got sent to... He actually didn't escape. He got sent into the Twilight Realm.
Yeah.
And
Spoilers.
That's... Actually, that is a spoiler.
You can't... all right, spoiler warning for a game that came out 14 years ago.
Yeah, I think we're safe.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that began...
Link fights Ganon, he'll freak out. What? Go ahead.
No way. Well, to be fair, Ganon wasn't in Majora's Mask, as you reminded me earlier.
Yes, that's true.
So it's a little... I don't know.
So Majora's Mask is the best game of all time.
Oh my god. You
But
fight a mask. You
We'll get
fight
into
a literal
that.
child.
All right, so is that all you have?
Is that all?
No, that was a lot of contextualizing. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. So that's kind of where that game leads up. So, yeah. And then, I don't know about you, but when I played this game in 2006, I was so smitten by this.
Sure.
And I really didn't start playing games until 2010, like, to the point where I would say that I was, like, a trademarked gamer, TM.
Hashtag gamers.
Hashtag gamer.
Gamers rise up.
I kind of just played. If I was at my friend's house and they had their Wii booted up, we just played something and then I went home.
Sure.
That's kind of how I played video games. So
Yep.
we played this, and a lot of my friends that I made playing this, I still have today.
Right.
Which you know, and you love them dearly, and you know them.
Sure.
But you tell me a bit about when you played this for the first time. Did you like it the first time you played it?
Well, let me contextualize my experience with Twilight Princess for
Sure.
you and for all our listeners out there who don't know a lot about me. People are familiar with you maybe through other, on the internet. You're more podcast. You're on podcasts.
I'm on Game Query.
You're on Game Query. So people
check out game_query.
Absolutely. But to give the context of where I'm coming from this game, I, much like everybody else, saw the very infamous, I believe it's E3 2005, the Twilight Princess trailer.
Absolutely.
It's a historic moment, obviously coming off The Wind Waker, which was a very cartoony art style, which a lot of people reacted very negatively to, and I think the opinion on that game and its art style softened quite a bit in the last 15 years since it came out, and people really like Wind Waker, but at the time they didn't. They didn't like.
People were pissed.
Oh, people were pissed. I was pissed because.
Were you pissed?
I mean, I was like 10, so sure. I was like, it's too cartoony. I want Ocarina of Time. I want to look cool.
Yeah.
Now I play them. I love Wind Waker. I think it's a one, and it looks beautiful even today. Yeah. I would say. Mm-hmm. But we're not here to talk about Wind Waker. We're here to talk about the reaction to Wind Waker, which was Twilight Princess. That was Nintendo saying, "Geez, people didn't like Wind Waker. Got him." And
jeez.
They made this amazing trailer. Shigeru Miyamoto busts through the wind
with the sword.
He busts through the wall.
Yeah,
it's incredible. There's the music. He's riding the horse. He has the sword up in the air. It's incredible.
Miyamoto?
No, like the Link in the trailer.
Yeah, I'm just goofing.
Take this seriously, please.
Sorry, buddy.
But as you know, everyone was so hyped for Twilight Princess, and as was I. The Wii was the first video game console I ever bought with my own money.
Really?
It was.
Not mine. My mom and dad bought that for me.
So I bought a Wii. I had a job. I was like 14, but I had my first job. And I bought a Wii. I got my Wii Sports, and I got The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess on Wii. Went home and played it. I was so excited. I played that game every day for 3-4 months because I didn't have really good internet, so I couldn't look up strategy guides or anything. I did it all by myself. I beat that whole game by myself. Didn't collect everything, but I played through it, put lots of time into that game.
Yeah. And it was great, right?
Well... No.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Quiet.
So upon playing it, I remember finishing the game and thinking to myself, that was okay. And to someone, I love the Zelda series. I love it so much. Majora's Mask is my favorite game of all time, as you know.
Yeah.
And I love Ocarina of Time, and I love Wind Waker, and I don't love Skyward Sword, but I prefer Skyward Sword over Twilight Princess. And because when I played Twilight Princess, it wasn't until a couple years later when I thought about that game, I was like, man, Twilight Princess, I should replay it. And I tried to replay this game 3 years after on the Wii, because I still had my Wii. Mm-hmm. And I got maybe 4 hours in, and I dropped it. I'm like, this game is boring. This game is ugly. This game is just generic and not fun, and I hated it.
Wow. And
upon replaying it the last couple weeks for this podcast, my opinion remains much the same. This game is boring. This game is ugly. And this game
is not ugly.
This game is ugly.
I don't think
And when I say ugly, obviously, it's not ugly as in, ugly games.
Like an ugly person.
No. Because, some games look terrible. They look terrible just because they're optimized for it. So Twilight Princess looks fine. It's the art style that makes.
Oh, I love the art style.
Throw the kids up here.
I love the kids.
The ugly kids, because Link looks great.
Link looks great.
Zelda looks great.
Zelda looks hot.
Ganondorf looks great.
Midna looks good.
Midna looks good. All the main characters look really good. We'll get more into Midna and Ganondorf as we go on here. But every side character in this game looks like a goddamn mutant that was thrown into a vat of acid and then brought out, and they're like, oh yeah, that's fine.
He's cool.
These feel like drafts that people they're like, oh, what do you think of this draft? Like, no, print that's good.
What do you think about the insinuation that they live in a town with 5 people and they're all just inbred to shit?
Well, sure. That's an idea to explain why everyone's
I don't really
so
think
ugly.
Nintendo went that way.
No, but this game it looks
You don't like
muddy.
Malo's design?
Which one's Malo?
Little baby.
No, he's horrifying.
He's so funny.
I guess
I
funny
love him so much.
Is a way to put it.
Stab it.
But this game, it's ugly. It's an ugly game to me. And maybe it's because I was playing it the HD version on the Wii U, which should have made it look better. Yeah. But I think it only accentuated the fact that the art style is so muddy and so bleak and dark. And I get they're going for this isn't your mama's Zelda game. This is an adult Zelda game. It's you grew up, so did Zelda.
Your mama's Zelda game.
It's remember Ocarina of Time? Everyone's like, yeah, I remember Ocarina of Time. It's let's do that, but way uglier and way darker.
I'm sure the meeting said, let's make this uglier.
They said, Mr. Miyamoto, they said, Mr. Inuma, you guys, we got this idea. We're going to do Ocarina of Time, but make it ugly and dark.
See, I disagree so wholeheartedly with that.
Please tell me all about why you disagree.
First of all, fuck you, and how dare you.
That's a bit extreme.
You say that to me every time I say I like this game. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, the designs have never been better in a Zelda.
Really?
I would agree. Okay, well, that sounds for the main heavy hitters, they're the best they've ever looked.
Sure.
I would say that. And then
Okay.
I would also agree that the townspeople look like crap a little bit.
Yeah, like
that,
mutants is the term I use.
That's a good word. Because
Yeah.
the first guy you talk to, like, his forehead is, like, the size of a state. And then,
Absolutely.
like, the guy who, you know, the guy when you go into the town and he teaches you how to use the hawk, and he's looking down at you.
Yeah.
This is the ugliest dude I've ever seen in my whole life.
No, it's terrible.
He has, like, I can't even remember what his face... I'll put it up behind.
Mm-hmm.
But this man's face is the ugliest face I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The audio listeners, unfortunately, can't see this man's face.
Just Google ugly Twilight Princess character.
I bet he comes up first.
Actually, it'd be really hard because they're all so
That's
ugly.
so rude. Anyways.
Go on.
So, like, does your disdain for the appearance... Also, you seem to be mostly talking about the characters. What about the world?
Well, the world, like, you mean like the level design or like how it looks? Like
how the world
itself?
looks. You think the world looks ugly? Because I would say that the world looks really good.
Sure. It's very big
Yeah.
and empty.
No, well, that's a whole nother
And-
point. Here you go. Here's his first of many. I
Well,
knew you were going to mention
look-
Hyrule Field. You're going to say Hyrule Field, aren't you?
Well, of course I'm going to say Hyrule Field because I'm not the only person on the internet who has complained about Twilight Princess's large, empty, open world with nothing to do.
Here's the difference between Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild's open world.
Okay, you're
Breath of-
comparing a game that came out 14 years after, but go off.
But I'm saying... I will go off. What I'm saying is, Breath of the Wild's open world
Sure.
is largely empty also.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about
Mm-hmm.
the things that you see in those worlds are either a random NPC that'll have a little mini mission,
Sure.
like a horse area to stop, and then like there's a few towns, the main areas where you go to fight the divine beasts,
Yep.
and then like kind of just pretty things to look at.
Sure.
And everything else is empty.
Mm-hmm.
Hyrule Field's that, but just 2006 when they couldn't afford to have as big a space.
Okay.
As much stuff as there is to do in Twilight Princess's Hyrule Field, if you multiply it to Breath of the Wild size, I would think the numbers would stay relatively the same.
Okay. My counterpoint.
You don't like Breath of the Wild?
No. Well, that's a whole other podcast.
That is a
coming
whole
up.
other
I do, for
podcast.
the record, like Breath of the Wild. Everyone out in the world, I have some problems with it.
He doesn't like Breath of the
I
Wild.
do like Breath of the Wild.
You're lying because...
Do you know why I like Breath of the Wild's open world?
Why?
Because the game is designed around it.
You
The
know,
game is designed around the open world.
yeah.
Twilight Princess says, "Oh, you know that cool spinning top you got in the desert?
A
dungeon?
fantastic item, yeah.
Very
the
cool
spinner?
item. It's very cool. No,
Yeah.
Can I finish my point?
I'm agreeing.
So, you get this cool spinner item. Like, oh wow, I can't wait to see what I can do with this cool spinner item.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for our listeners: nothing.
You can do several things
You
with the
cannot. You
spinner.
can ride it. You know why I know this? Because I looked it up. There are 2 spinner tracks in Hyrule Field and Twilight
Are
Princess.
there really only 2?
There are only 2.
Oh, I thought there were
and you have to
more.
use it 3 more times. Once in the final dungeon of the game.
Mm-hmm. Which is a fantastic boss fight.
No, like the dungeon itself. Like
Oh,
the final
that
dungeon.
room. I think I
Yeah,
know the room you're
yeah.
talking about, yeah.
But so Twilight Princess, and this is obviously a problem with not just Twilight Princess, but Zelda as a whole. I think in many of its worlds, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, all of it included. Something that only I really feel the 2D Zeldas have accomplished so well is the feeling of having the world feel explorable. And lived in. Yeah, lived in's a great term, I think.
Okay.
So, to give an example, I recently played last year The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the Switch remake.
Yes. Your little son's over there.
Yeah, he's over
actually.
there. You can see him. They can't see him, but he's
Yeah.
over there.
Little
Great game.
Debo.
And I was so struck by, when I was playing it, that I played the original Link's Awakening many, many years ago on the Game Boy. Mm-hmm. And I was so struck while playing it, how excited I was to get a new item. Because as soon as I got, like, the feather that makes you jump, or the gloves that you lift really big rocks, I immediately thought of, I've walked by so many things in the world that I can't wait to go try these items on.
Yeah.
Whereas in Twilight Princess, and other 3D Zeldas to an extent, like Twilight Princess isn't the only one that does this, there's very few times where I felt that excitement, where I got, the ball and chain's a great example. Great, very cool item.
Yeah.
It's used very well in its dungeon.
See, I would argue the ball and chain is like the most cumbersome and worst item.
Yeah, of course. It's not fun to use, but like there could be many exciting ways to use it in the world if the world was better designed around the items you got. Twilight Princess, like many other Zelda games, suffers from having you get an item. You know, oh, I got the bow and arrow, right? I'm probably going to have to fight a boss with a giant glowing eye that I have to shoot the bow in.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm going to use the bow maybe a couple more times throughout the world to shoot other eye switches. But realistically, I'm not going to use the bow that much.
You can use the bow, why not?
Okay, maybe the bow's not
That's
great.
exactly
Maybe the
example.
bow's not a great example. Maybe the ball and chain's a better example,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, use the ball and chain in Snowhead Temple, Snow Peak Temple.
Oh, amazing temple.
Great temple. And we'll get into the dungeons.
We'll get into
Because
it.
there are some good things to say about this game.
Mm-hmm.
Not many, but there are some. And you get the ball. I was waiting for the reaction to that, and it was great. You get the ball and chain, and you use it in the dungeon, and it feels really great to use it. And then I'm out in the world, and I couldn't think of a single time I wanted to use the ball and chain. Because nothing
I agree.
happened.
The ball and chain's not good.
Right.
That game's still
Great,
good.
so point for me. Point for me.
Is there a time? Is there a scoreboard behind
Yeah, there's a
us?
scoreboard being kept
I don't
at
think
home.
that's true.
But I guess to let me ask you something, and then maybe you can bounce it back to me.
Okay.
Because I'll
Like
tell
a
you about
ball-
a problem
like a
I
ball
have
and
with
chain.
it. Yeah, exactly.
The old ball and
Perhaps
chain.
more like the Kale Boomerang. Am I right? Exactly. So
Sorry, audio listeners couldn't see the lasso.
no, definitely.
Sorry.
So I guess my question for you, as someone who quote unquote loves this
You don't
game,
have to quote unquote. I love it.
quote unquote loves
You can.
this game.
It's not hearsay.
You know, I can't think. Like I beat the ice dungeon, which is the mansion.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm done on this most recent replay through because I was so I didn't feel driven to play the game. So like tell me something that that makes you like this game so much. So I honestly, genuinely, I don't see it.
Do you want me to give you my little spiel about how I just
Please
think this game is
give me your little spiel.
fucking amazing?
Absolutely.
Because, well, think about, you were talking a little bit about Wind Waker, how that came out.
Sure.
People were like, this is for big fat babies. We
Yeah.
don't like this, Nintendo. And then they showed that little trailer that had like a dark nut in it, I think.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, fuck, injected in my veins, whatever.
Sure.
And then after Twilight Princess, they largely kind of tended towards more adult themes in their games. Would you agree? If you subtract the DS games, which are kind of like little dinky.
Don't be hating on Spirit Tracks right now. That game's great, but go on.
Nah, I haven't played. I can't believe you're on this podcast hating Twilight Princess with defending Spirit Tracks.
Spirit Tracks is awesome. But anyway, yes, I would agree with you. The game's veered into more an adult direction.
So
certainly,
what I think, and I'm gonna flex my English degree a little bit here.
Sure.
This game, in its themes and in its very existence, is a transitory piece of media.
Ooh, okay.
Right?
Elaborate.
Well, okay, so Twilight is the time between day and night.
The game tells you that at the beginning.
It's the very first things
The first
that
thing the game
one of the
tells you.
fucking
Yep.
ugly ass fuckers say.
Okay.
They
Yep.
go, "You ever think about Twilight? Is it halfway here? And whatever, right?"
Sure.
So it's about having your foot in two different worlds.
Okay.
And that's largely the theme of the game, is coexisting between two different places.
Okay.
One of those is light,
Light.
and one of those is dark. And the reason that Link can coexist with that is because of his Triforce of Courage or whatever. They have their lore reasons.
Sure.
But you get to exist in these two worlds. Midna's kind of the encapsulation of the dark world, but it's kind of, in a positive way. And Link is the light world in a positive way.
Yep.
And the same way that that Nintendo, as a company, was trending away from light and going into dark, much like Link in the game is doing so.
I mean, how's your back with that reach?
Oh, it's not a reach. You might think. I really think. Okay, so here's my biggest issue with Nintendo games, and you know that I love Breath of the Wild. That game was gonna be a 10 out of 10 for me until I got to the last few minutes, and then I said it's a 9 now. Those last 3 minutes of Breath of the Wild ruined a lot for me.
I don't even remember how Breath of the Wild ends, to be honest with you.
Exactly. Because the ending of that game and
something giant robot, something.
The ending of
Zelda.
They stand there like fucking robots. Like spoilers for Breath of the Wild. Skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it. So they defeat Calamity Ganon. Link doesn't even have an animation to show joy in that last 3 seconds. He's like this, and Zelda's like, "Oh my god, we've done it, Link," and he just goes and smiles, and that's the end of the game. that ended, and I was just like, how dare they? How dare they have such a good game and not put so much effort into, like, that game has such amazing physics and all of the world's great and it's fun to play and there's fun side stuff, all this shit. They couldn't save a bit of money for the end to do a nice cutscene at the end, have a little bit of, like, story.
I mean,
cut to Twilight Princess.
Okay.
Best writing Nintendo's ever done. I'm not even. You're fucking laughing. I'm not even joking.
Okay, go ahead.
You can do it. Oh, well, I want to hear why you laugh so. You're so happy to hear that. Name a game that has better writing than Twilight Princess.
Like, in general?
No, but Nintendo. From Nintendo. There's others with better that aren't Nintendo.
I mean, even within Zelda, I think Wind Waker and Majora's Mask
have way better writing than Twilight
disagree. Princess.
This
Fucking
game has...
Kirby's Dream Land is better writing than Twilight Princess.
How dare you? Kirby's Dream Land?
Yeah. Like...
What's the plot of that? He's a pink fuck and he has fun.
Yeah. Like,
King Dedede shows up and hits him once.
This is Kirby's not on trial here. You leave Kirby out of this.
I will leave Kirby out of this because that boy's a saint. But I'm telling you, it's the best writing. I will fight you tooth and nail on this fact. It's the best writing.
And that's fine. You think that because it's
you're gaslighting me.
No, I'm not. It's interesting you think that.
Why?
Because honestly, one of the things I remembered most liking about Twilight Princess when I initially played it in 2007 was how much I liked the characters and their interactions.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking forward to replaying. Like, I can't wait to, like, talk to Midna again.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah. Turns out all that was a lie in my head. Because it's not that good.
I had a big gulp of beer in my mouth.
I tricked her.
Yeah, it is a lie. I tricked her.
Because, you know, the story... Let me sum up the story for you here in Twilight Princess really quick.
You're going to do a bad job.
I'm not going to do a bad job. I'm going to give an honest description.
Here's where I'll know if you know the story or not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the audio spiked when I screamed, because I'm already getting... You can see I'm already getting upset. Mm-hmm. What are the Interlopers?
The Interlopers?
What are the Interlopers in Twilight Princess? To show that you don't know what you're talking about. Well, to tell me that the story's not good.
The Interlopers were... Is that like the resistance group that lives at Telma's bar?
No.
Oh, is it the people... Like, you have the spooky dark vision?
No.
No? What are the Interlopers?
The Interlopers were the Twilight race.
Yeah.
Before they were banished to the Twilight Realm. Okay. They were called the Interlopers. See, now, and they wanted the power of magic, and they got banished.
That's literally what I just said, the spooky shadow people.
You, what?
The spooky shadow
don't
people.
Pretend that you got it right.
Can I do my story summary before you... Okay.
But I just proved that you don't know what you're talking about.
So... Like, don't get me wrong. Zelda stories are pretty simple all around, right? You got Link. He's a little kid.
He's cool.
Sometimes he's big. Sometimes he's small. He's got a green.
He's green.
He's got a green suit on. He collects items. Has a grand old time. In this game, he's a farmhand. Lives in this village. Has a grand old time. Mm-hmm. Is admired by all the children.
They love him.
They love him. He's great.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, shit goes south after a pretty normal day. Bunch of goblins or bokoblins, I believe they're called. Come in, wreck everything, hit some kids. Link
they do be hitting some kids.
Link chases after them, finds a big spooky wall, turns into a wolf.
Yes.
We probably should have mentioned the wolf by now.
Oh, we really have. Wow, we're 28 minutes in and we haven't mentioned...
I feel like we should give a more grand overview of the game itself. Link turns into a wolf in this game. It's sort of this game's gimmick.
Yes.
Much as like sailing in Wind Waker or the masks
in Majora's Mask
or motion controls as a whole in Skyward Sword. The gimmick of this game is that Link turns into a wolf.
Yes.
And he can smell.
He can smell.
He can dig.
He can also bark.
He can bark, and he can talk to animals.
I almost said dig again, but I just remembered you said that already.
Now, you might think, wow, that probably seems like a pretty... Well, I'll get into that later. But he turns into a wolf. That becomes important.
Yeah, it does.
He meets this little imp lady named Midna.
I could talk for hours about...
Well, I want to talk about Midna, too.
I want to talk about Midna.
Midna's one of the great things about this game.
Absolutely.
One of the few.
How dare
you? Meets Midna. Midna brings him to Zelda. She's like, "Hey, I can turn you back into a human. First, you gotta get rid of the Twilight everywhere. Yada yada yada." pretty much then Zelda stuff happens. You go to the dungeons, you get the heart pieces, you get the MacGuffins.
Fuse shadows.
The
MacGuffins.
Yeah, they're MacGuffins.
What are those?
It's Fuse Shadows, then it's Mirrors of Twilight.
Yeah.
It's like it's spirit stones and emblems, or it's masks, and it's whatever. It's nothing. It's things to collect.
Gestures wildly. It's whatever.
But then Zelda things happen, and
I would argue very few Zelda things happen.
What do you mean very few Zelda things happen?
Zelda is barely in this game.
Well, not Zelda as as the person. Zelda as the series of games.
I'm embarrassed. I understand what you mean now.
Anyway,
I thought you meant she walked out and did something.
She's hardly in it.
I'm
fine.
sorry.
I don't care if Zelda's not in the game.
What?
Most Zelda games don't have her that prominently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think you're speaking to all these, again, back to your writing point, all these great writing moments. Like, all this stuff happens.
There's themes in this game. There's never...
What? Okay.
There's never cohesive themes in Nintendo games.
That's so
that
incorrect
are
that I can't believe you even deemed to say it.
That are impactful to the point that you care.
I would disagree with that, but
you don't
each
think?
Their own.
What? Okay, what's the theme of Wind Waker? Water?
Well, what's the theme of Twilight Princess? Twilight?
Yeah!
That's, oh my god, I guess that was your whole point, wasn't
That was
it?
my whole point!
Nintendo moving into the darkness, as you so eloquently put it.
Oh, I can't believe you're dumbing me down like that.
I guess.
That is the spark notes of what I said.
Mm-hmm. But my whole point is that for all your talk of great writing and how excited I was to get back into this game, all the character moments, of which there's so many that don't need to be there, are all so boring. All the characters are, with the exception, everyone in the internet freaks out,
I'm not saying
with the exception of Midna, who I think is a great character, and we'll get into the great characters. Mm-hmm. Everyone else in this game is so boring and so dull that I don't care about them. And every time I was playing, and we'll get into the pacing of this game, I think next, I think that's important, we should talk about it.
Yeah.
Is so dull. And I'm really genuinely shocked that you think the writing in this game is so good.
It's fantastic.
I can't remember barely anybody's name. I played this game last night.
I'm going to tell you a few times that you're going to tell me that you didn't feel something.
Sure. Go ahead.
When Colin was kidnapped and they held him up on the flagpole.
Which one is Colin?
The blonde one.
Oh, right.
You love him.
No, I don't.
Oh,
obviously.
You love Colin.
Is he the one who's not brave then gets brave?
He gets brave.
Gotcha.
He wants to be Link.
Mushroom cut. Yeah,
Early J-Beebs.
I remember.
You telling me when the King Boblin, I think his name is, held him up on a stake.
Sure.
That you didn't say, I'm going to fucking kill you. Don't touch Colin.
No, I didn't, because I don't care about Colin.
How do you not care about Colin?
Because the game never gave me a reason to care about Colin.
The game gave you Okay, here's where I'm going to tangent into another insanely common complaint, which I will let you... I will slightly agree that the start of Twilight Princess is slow.
Oh, we're getting to the intro, are we?
Well, we probably should have started with the intro.
No, probably. We're figuring this out as we go along, folks.
For those who aren't familiar with Twilight Princess is notorious for having the common complaint that the start of this game is slow.
Slow would be an understatement.
Slow in that you spend, I would say, at least the first hour and a half, 2 hours doing very mundane stuff. Mm-hmm. You kind of fish for a fish. You talk to some people. You get a baby carriage from a monkey. Mm-hmm. You heard some goats.
Yep.
Goatin. And then...
a bunch of goatins up there as you
Goatin.
talk about this.
And you very much just get situated in the world.
Sure.
I think that establishes the whole point of... Listen to me hearing my voice get frustrated. The whole point is that you need something to care about. Mm-hmm. So of course they need to take a beat and show you where you live and show that you love it there.
Yeah.
And that you're happy and that you have people that care about you and you care about them.
Of course.
Do I think it went on a little too long? Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. But I think that's so necessary so that when literally giant bokoblins come in and smack your children in the head with a club,
Yeah.
that you're like, oh, I'm so mad now. I need to fix this. Whereas if you started the match, if you started the game and it was Link standing there with his wooden sword in the spring, and then immediately the kids got kidnapped, I wouldn't give a fuck.
Oh, you mean like the Legend of Zelda on the original, where Link literally starts in a field and they say go?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
It's stakes. It's giving you stakes, and it's giving you something to care about.
Okay.
And that's something that comes back over and over again, which is like, this is why you're doing things.
Right.
This is the agency that they give to you. And then, by extension, it's interesting that the agency shifts when you kind of have your friends are safe. It's around like dungeon 3 or 4. It's pretty much your friends are safe. You got the few shadows, everyone's safe. But the agency shifts to Midna's agency, and that now that you've established a relationship with Midna, she asks for your help, and then the agency shifts. Right. Now you have a new trajectory, and then the latter part of the temples are about getting the mirror shards. Yes. So this is it made me want to play because I had something to do. Okay. Like, whereas if I'm gonna think about, I mean, Wind Waker did a little bit with your grandma and your sister gets kidnapped.
I'm so glad you brought that point up, but yes, go on.
You were gonna gonna throw that in my face?
No, not at all. You're being very hostile. I
love this game so much, and I'm just gonna fight tooth and nail.
You loved the game you love so much, you bought it and never played it on your Wii U.
Because I like the Wii version, which I know is stupid. I know
you can play the Wii version on the Wii U.
Well, yeah, but that's not the point.
Okay, anyway, go on.
It's not about where I play it. It's about the version I'm playing.
Yeah, I know, but you can play because you're talking when you play it like
I would put the Wii disc in on my Wii U
and play that over. Okay.
And play that over the Wii U version.
That's weird, but go on.
Because I don't like okay, so another thing maybe we should mention is that when this game got remastered to HD, the camera got inverted because Link is canonically left-handed.
Left-handed.
So when it was on the GameCube, he was left-handed. Yep. But when they ported it to the Wii, they had to actually invert the entire world. I believe this is vertically. To make it so that because to be honest, they were mean to left-handed people, and they made it so everyone.
Most people use the Wii remote in their right hand.
Even left-handed people?
I'm not a left-handed person because I'm not a freak.
My dad is left-handed.
Yeah, I know.
Call my dad a freak?
Yeah, it's a freak. Just kidding. All left-handed people, you're fine. Just play Wii regular, I guess. Grow up.
Oh my god, we're gonna lose so many left-handed listeners.
All 12 of you.
in the world.
Shop at Flanders Left-Handed Emporium.
You love the Leftorium. You always bring that up.
Okay.
What was I saying?
You're talking
I like
how you want to play the Wii version on your Wii U.
I like it on the way I know it. The way where things are on the right side.
My only point to this is that like literally hero mode on the Wii U version is the Wii version. Like everything's inverted. Oh. So I'm just letting
I didn't know that. No, is that available or is that New Game Plus?
No, that's available from the beginning.
Well, aren't I a fool?
Eggs on your face on this.
Eggs on my face. Well, maybe I'll play it on the Wii U.
Great.
I mean, I mostly got it because I wanted this amiibo.
That's a great amiibo, by the way.
Which is fun in Breath of the Wild. You get Wolf Link.
Absolutely. Love this little guy.
What was I? We were talking about the beginning of...
Yeah, so I want to go back to that point real quick from the beginning of Twilight Princess because it has been talked about many times before. This game has a very slow opening. Yes. So slow, in fact. I decided to time.
No, you didn't.
I did. I don't have my notes on me right now, but I can give the general number.
Sure.
So, in Twilight Princess, just give me a rough estimate what you think the time to enter the first dungeon in that game is.
Oh, it's gonna be way longer than I think.
Okay.
Till you walk into the.
So you walk into
that spinny door you push.
The forest temple,
and it spins.
which is the first dungeon, or what it's not called the forest temple.
2 hours.
No.
How long?
Go keep guessing.
Well, now I don't know. 3 hours?
by my time, by playing someone, who's a pretty average video game skill, 5.5 hours to get to the first dungeon in Twilight Princess.
No way.
The first dungeon in Twilight Princess.
But you're fighting things before the first dungeon.
It's not about fighting things.
Then what do you want?
I want the game to move forward. Now,
tell me what you want.
Now, let me ask you if you can tell me, in Ocarina of Time, seminal classic.
It's going to be like a minute or something.
To get to the Great Deku Tree, the first dungeon Ocarina of Time,
2 minutes.
Which involves getting your sword, your shield, enough rubies to buy the shield.
2 minutes.
Like, I played it on the N64 that I have in my house. Just for fun.
That I bought you.
Yes, you did buy me that. It took me 9 minutes to get to the Great Deku Tree.
You're speed running.
No, I wasn't. I know how to play the game, sure. Yeah. My whole point, and that's not to say, and like I know someone will be like, you said your favorite game was Majora's Mask, and you don't get that first dungeon till 3 hours, because the game is a 3-hour time.
Thank you, hypothetical person.
Hypothetical person.
Ideal.
My answer to that would be the game's pacing in Twilight Princess is so slow. It's so monotonous. So you start the game.
Yeah.
You herd some goats.
Yep.
You go to the town. The kid's like, get a slingshot for the kid. I get the slingshot. All right, cool. And I get it. The game's trying to teach me how to play it. Particularly on the Wii with its motion controls. It's teaching me how to aim. It's teaching you how to explore.
Which you also have to contextualize. We're brand new at the time.
Sure. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So, but literally, you walk up to literally the door of the first temple in Twilight Princess 3 separate times before you go in the door.
Of the forest temple?
Yeah, you go rescue the kid.
You rescue him, yeah.
You turn into Wolfling, you gotta go get all the little buggies. So I get all the bugs.
Get the buggies, yeah.
Get the buggies.
I like that part.
You turn back into regular Link. Then you gotta walk back to the goddamn temple again before you can go in. You walk up the same path at the start of this game so many times. You go forward, you go back. You go forward, you go back.
Yeah.
And then you finally beat the goddamn temple.
Yeah.
And then you're like, sweet, I beat the first temple. And here's Hyrule Field. It's exciting. How exciting is it going to be to finally get into an open world where I can explore? It's Hyrule Field. It's the best part of a Zelda game, exploring the world. And it immediately turns you back into a goddamn wolf again, where you got to find more stupid-ass bugs before you can turn into a human again. Twilight Princess... I'm going to get right into it right now. This game has all the potential to be great.
Yeah.
When the game lets you play it, when the game lets you play Zelda, it's great. I love the dungeons.
The dungeons are amazing.
I love the dungeons in this game. I love how they're designed. Like, when I was playing this game, I was like, I'm having so much fun in these dungeons. Like, even like the block puzzles are well designed. Like, the push the block here puzzles are great in this game. They're even like your boring, fire, water, and forest temples, which are in every Zelda game.
Yeah.
They're exciting in this game.
Yeah, they are.
The swimming's fun, particularly on the Wii. I'll give the credit to the Wii U. I never owned one. I'm playing it on your Wii U. Like, putting on the boots is really easy with the Wii U tablet. Yeah. It feels great. But every time the game takes you out of a dungeon, there's so much padding in between to like, go here, now go here, now go here. And you think you're finally, it's like, oh, just kidding, you can't go to the dungeon yet, Link. You gotta go do more tedious bullshit that you don't care about.
I care about it.
But why? What's fun about catching a fucking fish?
For a kitty?
For a Yeti.
Oh, for a Yeti.
For the Yeti.
That was to get the smell.
Yeah.
To find the Yeti. So you're...
Don't say it like it's fun.
That was a hoot.
It was not a hoot.
When I played that.
You got to get out of the temple. They're like, okay, well, listen, like we can't get away through the snowstorm.
You're being real negative.
It's too. I'm mad about this game because this game has the potential to be so good.
Yeah.
It lets you play Zelda, but it's so much tedium.
So much goddamn waiting.
So much goddamn waiting. And I really feel because when the game would just let me play, it was all the in between moments. Like, when I finally got to go into Hyrule Field and there was stuff to do, I liked finding the bugs, I guess. That was kind of fun.
For Agatha?
Yeah, it was fun to explore. It was fun to do all this stuff, but then the game kept being like, before you go to the next dungeon, you gotta go find some special books to give to some random people so they can just tell you. I'm like, just let me go to the dungeon. Let me go.
It's... Okay, so maybe that was a lot.
That was a big rant. I apologize.
So maybe I'll take your last bit. So let's take just a chunk.
Okay.
So the chunk where you're about to go to City in the Sky, which before this podcast started, we were watching a few cutscenes, and I was watching them to refresh my memory because the latter 2 hours of the game, the last few hours of the game, is where I forget the most of what happened. So I wanted to remember. So I was watching the little bit before you go to the City in the Sky temple. The best temple of the game.
I would disagree, but yes, it's a great temple.
I think it's
but
the
that's
best
not
one.
important. Go on. Yes.
I'm just curious, what's your favorite one?
I really like the Goron Mines. The second.
I would have never guessed that you would say that one.
That's a really fun temple.
I thought you would hate the walking with the boots.
No, because the boots are used in a creative way that makes it really fun.
But it's so slow.
The whole temple's designed around the boots, so it's fun.
Yeah.
I love good game design, I guess. Sue me.
Yeah. The boots make you real slow, though.
But that's okay, because most of the dungeon has you just... Anyway, go on.
Any hoot.
You like City in the Sky.
I like it.
Sure.
So before you do that, there's a few things you have to do. You have to go to the hidden village and show the Dominion Rod to that cute little lady with all the cats.
Okay.
Who is a descendant. They hint she's a descendant of the Sheikah.
Okay.
Don't know if you caught that.
I don't care, but go ahead.
I care.
Okay, great.
There's signs on the side that have
Cool.
Sheikah lettering.
That's awesome.
So it's a real big hint that she's a Sheikah descendant.
None of this is making me think the game is good, by the way, but
anyways,
continue.
Yeah. And then, so you have to show her the Dominion Rod. She gives you some text.
Yeah.
You show it to that guy who is like a really cute elf dude who's a real studious little... He kind of looks like the guy from Milo from Atlantis.
Sure.
You show him that, and then he goes, "Oh shit, I'll read this." And then you read it, and then you move the statue, and you get to see the cannon that will take you to the sky, the sky temple. So then you take the cannon to the guy who fixes the cannon.
Right.
He fixes it, and then you can go to the temple.
Okay.
I agree. That's a lot.
You didn't even name all the stuff they have to do before all that stuff, but yes.
Get Ilya's memories back.
Just the whole thing also takes another hour and a half, but yeah, just that little thing.
A few other little things here and there.
Yeah.
But I agree. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I kind of like those bits a lot too. Because, okay, as fun as the dungeons are.
Sure.
When I remember the first time I played this, I was 14 years old. I wanted more story. Like the thing I played this game for the cutscenes.
Right.
So you have to think about, I do all, like the dungeon part, there's like maybe a minute worth of cutscenes in there for like when the boss battle starts, when the boss battle ends, when the mini boss battle starts, when, whatever.
Sure.
And then afterwards, it's like I shipped the shit out of Ilya and Link. So anytime there was a little bit of a scene where they were like, oh, I kind of like you, I'm getting my memories back, I kind of remember.
Right.
I was like, inject that in my veins. I want to know more. So I liked the in between stuff.
Sure. Okay. And I understand where you're coming from because
the writing
clearly
was good.
Nintendo wanted to focus more on the story in this game.
Yes.
They wanted to... Again, Zelda's grown up now. It's about their story because obviously we're living in a post... not a post, but like around these time, RPGs are getting more... Zelda's not an RPG. It is in some ways.
Action-adventure.
Sure. Games are changing. Games are evolving. Like we're 1 year out. I think Oblivion came out the same year as Twilight. Was it 2000?
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Whoa.
So it's like, obviously, you play something like Oblivion with like such as amazing characters and story and stuff. You really want, Zelda has to grow up a little bit. But I just don't feel the game had to suffer so much. Because you talk about all these moments of characters, and these characters, I mean, if you like them, that's great. I don't like them very much. But
do you not like Ilya?
Is she like the horse girl?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She's your
Why
Tang.
would I like a character? The game. I mean, you seem to think the game has given me a reason to care about all these characters. I don't agree. Like I meet Ilya at the start of the game, and maybe I just missed the part where she has a personality. But
she's a little sassy to you at the start.
She goes like, "Hey, your horse has dirt in its foot. That's not cool.
Hurt a leg.
Whatever." And they bring you out, and you're like, "Oh," and they're like, "Oh, Ilya took your horse. You can't go do the thing you need to do. You better go convince her." I'm like, "Cool. I've never talked to her before, but I guess I need to care about what she thinks about me." The game.
He likes her. It's insinuated.
Sure, but for all the time the game takes to, as you say, set up a world and make you try to care, they don't give me any interactions with these characters to make me care about them. which is, and I think we'll get into the good moment, the good character, the one good character in this game shortly, I think.
Yeah.
Which the game gives me a reason to care, and not
much.
perfectly. Don't get me wrong.
I love her.
I kind of wish all these moments in between all these dungeons where you're running around from here to here and talking to this person and that person, which just pads out this game. I wish the game would just let me explore on my own and just find, and again, that's just more my my desires for these games. I want to explore. Like I remember playing.
You want less linear?
I want, not necessarily. I don't think less linear, because all Zelda games are linear. There's, with the exception, I think, A Link Between Worlds, which lets you tackle dungeons in any order and stuff.
Yeah, which is, I love that one.
But, I think of Link to the Past, which to me is like, sort of like not my favorite Zelda game, but the quintessential Zelda game, I think.
Yeah.
Because like literally every Zelda game has just been trying to remake Link to the Past in so many ways for so long, and get the 3 things, go get the other 7 things, tackle the dungeons, get the item. It all kind of got perfected in that game first, and they're just sort of doing that over and over and over again to varying degrees of success. But that game really lets you explore and learn, find things on your own, and they're not saying, hey, the next dungeon you should go to is this one, Link. It's definitely the city in the sky, Link. Here's a cannon to the city in the sky, Link.
I mean, they have to do that.
No, they don't, because they haven't.
Remind me, did Ocarina of Time come out in 98?
Yes, 98.
This came out 8 years after Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Think about how much they improved in 8 years.
Improved what?
The game design.
Specifically the Zelda series?
Yes.
I elaborate on that.
I think it's so easy to think about this in 2020.
Sure.
And being like, this game's big load of donkey do because all the things aren't right like how they make them now. It would be really hard to make non-linear games in 2006.
Yeah.
The very harder. The very
sure.
first Ocarina of Time came out, it was a technical marvel.
Absolutely.
And that was only 8 years before this.
Yeah.
That is not a big chunk of time.
Sure.
So I remember when this came out, it was like, I'm trying to remember the mindset I was in, but it was like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. Whereas now it's kind of like, well, that's a little wrinkle in time where they got a little dark. But like, you have to think about, at the time, this was like, it looked crazy.
Sure.
Because like Wind Waker also looked great.
Yeah.
But it was also cartoony.
Right.
So it's like you kind of automatically, when you think about that in your head, you kind of put it in a box. It's like, oh, a little cartoon game. Easier to make. I still think that game was probably like as technically difficult to make potentially as Twilight Princess, maybe even a little less. But like 8 years to go from the very first 3D like action adventure game to that is pretty impressive. You have to remember that that's where they're at. That's where they existed in 2006.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
When you think
if
about
you want
it.
to judge a game in its time, I can play Ocarina of Time, which came out in 1998 now, and have a grand old time, despite its limitations, despite the year.
I don't like Ocarina of Time.
And I'm the controversial take on this podcast.
No, I mean, I know that people...
What do you mean like Ocarina? We're not going to get into Ocarina of Time.
I don't like Majora's Mask either.
I know you don't like Majora's Mask.
The game sucks.
And that's fine. I
game
can
mad
admit
sucks.
People don't like that game.
I don't want to have a journal open taking notes about what time to talk to a guy who juggles in the courtyard. That's so boring.
No, you'd rather have the game explain to you exactly what to do, as judging from what you're telling me.
I'd rather have the game have interesting characters that talk, and then I learn about the story as I go.
That's literally all Majora's Mask is, interesting characters. That's literally the whole concept of the game.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's literally interesting characters with schedules that you interact with.
No, it's not, because you have to...
You are going to get so much hate mail
you
from
want
this podcast.
Me to.
No, I don't.
You love
I
when I get the hate mail.
Anyway, let's talk about something I like about this game. Will that calm you down?
Sure.
Will that calm you down a little bit?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Midna.
I love her so much.
Midna is the titular Twilight Princess.
Yes.
We don't know that till the very end of the game. Spoilers, I guess, again.
You know it, like 3/4 the way through.
Sure. So
you
Midna,
know when the sages tell you.
So the Zelda games have companion characters, right? Navi, Tattle, Majora's Mask,
Minish Cap.
Minish Cap. I guess the boat in Wind Waker is kind of like your guide character.
King of Red Lions.
Yep. Thank you. That's his name.
Yeah.
Then Midna, she's your little imp friend. She kind of starts out. She's a little. you don't know if you can trust her. She's a little coy.
She's a little coy.
She's like, oh, I want you to do something for me, dumb little, because you're a wolf at this point. You can't turn back into a human.
Yeah.
So you grow this relationship with Midna over time, sort of naturally. You hang out with her, she helps you, you help her. It's a very natural camaraderie. She's much more vocal than a lot of Zelda guides because she's with you the entire time.
Yeah.
Which is great. Excuse me. But there's a very large but here. I have one complaint about Midna, which maybe you can answer and convince me otherwise, because I'm willing to be convinced. So everyone doesn't gets it wrong. I'm convinced. I want to like this game. I just have a lot of problems with it.
You want to like?
I do want to like it. I love Zelda. I don't want to not like this game.
Yeah.
So Midna, and this is a point you raised a little bit earlier, how she feels great writing.
Fantastic.
And you feel this natural bond with Midna.
Absolutely.
Right? I remembered feeling that as well the first time I played this game. And then upon replaying it, I was kind of wondering why I felt that way. Because upon replaying it, I was like, Midna shows up. She's kind of annoying. She's kind of a dick. Mm-hmm. Like, she's like, oh yeah, I'll help you. Maybe help me. She's
clearly using you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the point.
And then, so the whole first 3 dungeons of this game, you're kind of helping Midna get these, what are they? Fuse shadows? Fuse shadows. Who gives a shit? They're just Zelda bullshit. They need to get.
They actually have a.
They have a point in the story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the point is, you collect them.
Fuck you.
You collect them. So Midna will help you out. And it makes a lot of sense why you're helping her, right? Because don't call me a dick, by the way. That's mean. That's mean.
You are.
But you're helping Midna because from all the areas you're going to, collecting these whatever doodads.
Few shadows.
You're helping your friends as well.
Yes.
You go to these areas. If you help Midna get the next shadow, she can help you move to the next area. It's a very win-win, mutually profitable relationship.
Symbiotic.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great word.
Yeah.
And then you get the final fused doodad.
Shadow.
Yeah, that's the one.
I've said it like 4 times.
And then, the bad guy of this game, one of the bad guys of this game, Zant, shows up. He kicks Midna's shit in. She gets all fucked up. And then she's all weird and she's all white. And she's like, you gotta take me to Zelda. I'm really upset. And I kept wondering.
She's dying. She's not just upset. She's dying.
And and I'm wondering, as that happened, why Link's like, I don't give a shit.
What do you mean?
Why would Link care? Why do I care? Midna's been using me this entire time, and she hasn't earned me caring about her.
I immensely cared about her at this point in the game.
But at this point in the game, when she gets her shit kicked in after the 3rd dungeon,
yes,
she hasn't done anything to make me care about her.
So, remind me, the 3rd dungeon is
the Lake Bed Temple.
You've had interactions with her up to this point where she's...
Yeah, but nothing that makes me think she's my friend. She's like, hey, go over here, dummy, get the thing.
Okay, well, I can't believe you didn't care when you were... It's called Midna's Lament, is that portion of the game.
Great, and just on that...
And the name of the song
and that point, and just another point, great music in this game.
I might...
Just a quick side.
I'm going to just put in Midna's Lament in here for 30 seconds. Right? That moment is often talked. Even people who don't like this game talked about that's the most impactful moment of the game.
I know.
So I'm so surprised that you didn't care. You didn't care about her then.
Well, the game had given me no reason to. Like, I like Midna as a character. I like her design, and I liked her, elusive attitude, I guess. And
yeah.
That's cool. But when I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of Link, who's been dragged all across the world trying to help his friends.
Well, Link's a bit of a bitch.
Well, and that's another complaint I have with this game, but we'll finish this Midna rant first.
So here's where I take with that.
Okay.
I think this is largely Midna's story. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're the sidekick.
Oh, I was literally that's the point I want to make about Link. Absolutely.
Like, when you really think about how Midna when you do things, it's to help Midna, and sometimes you also get benefit by it.
Sure.
But this point after Midla's lament, where you shift to, she literally says to you when you get to the mirror, like, I need your help, like, straight up.
Yep.
Like, at this point, he doesn't need her anymore. And they've established a sort of, like, knowing relationship to that. He wants to be like, okay, I'm going to help you now. Even though up to this part it's been even. It's not like he owes her one.
Right.
You do scratch my back, I scratch yours. And now they're at a point where she's like, I'm straight fucked, the mirror's broken, can you help me? And he's like, okay. And, like, Link doesn't have voice act. Link is fucking nobody. Like, let's be real.
That's
like,
his whole character.
That's the point.
It's right in his name. He's a link to the player. Like, you're supposed to self-insert upon
He's just
Link.
a fucking bitch boy. I don't really care about Link.
That's okay. Sure. Weird take.
Bitch boy. You don't think?
Well, it's like, it's not relevant. So, but yeah, go ahead.
That's just all, you know, so Midna has so much personality.
Yeah.
And so much character that I feel like I'm her sidekick. And then they kind of echo that in that, like, a lot of the times when you're doing things, Midna will be like, I got it. And she'll, you know, she's so strong.
Yeah.
She is the one, like, you fight Zant, but she kills Zant.
Zant's the bad guy, by the way.
Zant's the bad guy. He's kind of like a pseudo boss, but not really.
No, he's not a pseudo boss. He's a real boss.
He's a boss, but he's like a before boss.
Yes.
Mini boss.
Much like, well, no, he's not a mini boss.
That's what I mean. He's like a mini big boss.
Okay.
It's like a separate thing. He's not like a dark nut, but he's like not a Ganon.
He's a boss.
He's a medium
he's
boss.
the villain of the game.
He's a medium boss.
Okay, sure. Medium boss, Sam.
So when she goes to fight Ganon at the end, she teleports you away, and she's like, fuck, I got it. Obviously, she doesn't win that fight. We see it's off screen, and we don't get to see her fight.
Right.
But
right.
It's just, he just happens to come through for her in the end. But it's still largely her story.
Sure.
And that's so much better than all the other times, because, like, when Link is the main character having the story and Navi's with him or Fi's with him or any of these fucking plebs that I just, like, that have zero personality also.
Right.
Like, why would you have two people with zero personalities hanging out is just more zero personality.
Sure.
So, like, obviously when you have zero personality Link and then super awesome personality Midna, who actually has an arc throughout the game,
right? I'm
going to focus on her more. And then it's kind of like, you know, it's cute because they have these animations where you can see them becoming friends. Like, at first it's just kind of her teasing him, but then during cutscenes where they're talking to someone, she'll be leaning on him, or she'll be like, I really need your help, and she'll touch him and stuff. They become friends.
Sure.
Nintendo doesn't do that very often. So that made me care. Like, I genuinely was like, I need her to not be dying right now, because she's carrying the game. She's the good part of this game, so I don't want her to die. I
guess I just had a very different reaction to her.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Again, I like Midna. She's one of the few bright spots on this game that I don't like very much.
And I think even people who don't like this game could admit Midna's the best.
No, she's definitely the best companion in the series by a large margin, I think. Obviously, following up to her was is it Fi or Fi? The robot sword that tells you to change your stupid batteries all the time.
There's a 90% chance.
Yeah, exactly.
You are going to die.
This comes from the guy who thinks Skyward Sword is better than this game, and I
don't like Skyward Sword.
Well, that's a whole other story.
I mean, I don't mind Skyward Sword.
No, it's fine.
I just
the
Midna rant.
The Midna rant. That was a good rant. No, because Midna's a great character, and she's one of the great parts about this game.
We're at an hour.
Isn't
that crazy?
That's crazy. Well,
is there something you want to bring up that you think if you heard me rant you might change your mind, or is this largely just like you don't like it?
It's not so much that I don't like it. I want to like it, and I like parts of it. I love the dungeons in this game. And the boss fights, despite the fact, obviously, they take a lot from Shadow of the Colossus, which came out
he was bringing this point up earlier. I said, save it for the podcast.
Exactly, because, obviously Shadow of the Colossus came out the year before, and that game is incredible, and with great boss fights, and obviously Zelda takes a lot from it. I mean, of course, a lot of Zelda games and a lot of Zelda boss fights have the same problem of hey, it's got a big shiny spot, whack it with your sword. And that's, that's with Zelda, it's whatever. Like, you don't, like, it's fine. There's a couple of great bosses in the series, but nothing amazing or something.
Yeah.
But, like, I love the dungeons in this game. I love the designs of, like, the bosses and the dungeons themselves.
The dungeons are fucking awesome.
They are truly great. And some of the best in the series.
Yeah.
Truly.
And to be fair, they take up the majority of the time. So
that is not true. That is so far from true, and it's not true.
What do you think percentage of in dungeons versus percentage you're doing the in-between stuff? Is it 50?
Like 20-80. Like 20% done.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That's... You don't got the math.
Between collecting all the stupid golden bugs... Going around.
Agatha's a sweetheart.
Not those golden bugs. The bugs that turn you back into a human.
The insects of light.
Which actually was, apparently, I didn't realize this was fixed in the Wii U version.
They have less of them.
It didn't feel like less. It still was awful.
The insects of, what are they called? The insects of Twilight? The insects of
darkness, light, Kingdom Hearts bullshit. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it's just...
Okay, here's another point I want to bring up with this game that I kind of like. We are all over the place, but I guess that's the nature of this episode.
People are not going to like our show. But that's okay. I'm having fun. Are you having fun?
Yeah. We tend to just get mad about things and move on to the next thing. Yeah. A lot of people have the common complaint that Wolf Link is trash in this game. Like, he's not very fun to play. He's not good. He can't fight very well.
There's very few times I want to play Wolf Link as opposed to normal Link.
Which is my point I'm about to make.
Sure.
You're not supposed to want to be him. You're weak.
But like, he's not weak. He does the same damage in Wolf Link form, I think.
Because of Midna.
Yeah.
So this is why whenever people are like, Wolf Link's trash, I'm like, that's the point. He doesn't want to be Wolf Link. He's vulnerable when he's Wolf Link.
Then why does it give you the option to turn to Wolf Link?
To do puzzles and shit. Like, she keeps the Twilight Shard because, you can turn into a beast whenever you want. And
it's also for fast
You do that to find pose and stuff.
Fast travel, too, yeah.
Fast travel is mainly it. But, like, you're not... I feel like everyone says that, and I'm like, did no one realize that that's the whole point? Like, Link... From when he got forcibly turned into the wolf and got dragged by the shadow people, he was like, this fucking... I'm in chain... Like, he has that whole chain on his leg the whole time. That's like visual, thematic cohesiveness. The fact that he's chained... Is it on his leg there? On his front left one. Mm-hmm. I don't think they can see.
That's okay.
He's right here. Mm-hmm. He's chained up. He doesn't like it.
Right.
He doesn't want to be there.
So you think that Wolf Link is the game creators don't want you to be Wolf Link?
They don't want you to be as strong as you are as a human as Wolf Link. And when Midna's not on your back, you are fucking vulnerable.
Sure.
And they want you to feel that. So there's a couple times where that happens, where when Midna's teaching you, there's a mechanic where you fight the shadow people in order to get the fast travel, where you can't leave one alive.
Right. So
you need to use Midna's ability where she makes a circle, and then she can target multiple ones and go zhung, 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 and get all three of them. Mm-hmm. So the very first time you do that, she nopes off your back, and she goes, have fucking fun, see ya, and she runs away, and then you're Wolf Link, and you're trying to kill them, and it's hard. You can't do it. You can't kill... I mean, there is a way to kill all three if you, like, group them up and do a spin attack, but that's really hard.
Sure.
So most people aren't going to do that. But then, if you have Midna, it's super easy.
Yep.
And then, even when you're fighting other things, like, doing the Midna attack makes you strong.
Right.
Think about how hard it would be to fight if you didn't have that circle effect attack. It would be really hard because you're up there, you're just going rah, rah, rah. You're just smashing, or like, I guess if you're playing GameCube or Wii, you're just going like this. Yeah. And you're really vulnerable because you're a dog. And then when Midna's hurt, that's the other time where you're a wolf and you're running and they put enemies in your way. And my biggest complaint about Midna's Lament is when you're running through the field and they have that, oh my god, that beautiful music.
Sure.
Absolutely gorgeous music. It's probably my favorite song in all of Zelda.
Yeah.
Is Midna's Lament. And then when enemies come up, they interrupt the music to play the enemy, like, thing, and that pisses me off. I'm like, just play Midna's Lament. You can fight the bokoblins, but it's just like, it's hard, so you just run past them. And they're trying to emphasize, you don't have your buddy fighting with you, so you're really weak. Run to the castle. Run.
Yeah.
Don't fight right now.
Sure.
And, like, that's the whole vibe. It's like, it's hard to be him.
Okay. Sure.
So you're not necessarily supposed to be like, yeah, now I'm Wolf Link. He doesn't want to be Wolf Link. He wants to be Linky. where you're all Link.
I mean,
that was a huge rant.
I feel like you just made two different points.
How so?
I don't see how they reconcile, because you're saying it's not fun to be Wolf Link, right? And the game wants to show you it's not fun to be Wolf Link by taking Midna away, like you said. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
but it sounds like to me you're making the argument that they're making the game purposely less fun for like thematic reasons.
Not less fun.
It is like being Wolf Link's not fun.
It's you feel like you're in danger.
Okay.
That doesn't
make Wolf Link any less of a bad mechanic.
But the whole point, the whole point is you don't. I'm trying. Okay, so like you're getting the vessels of light. You're trying to turn it back to light to be human again.
Sure. Okay. Is
that not logically you trying to do all the things as quickly as possible to be not a wolf?
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to want to be a wolf. It's cohesiveness between the gameplay and the story.
I mean, I think I see what you're trying to say. I just don't see it. I truly don't.
I'm turning my head and I'm closing my eyes.
I'm fully looking at you. I want to believe what you're saying. I just don't feel...
The story tells you, stop being a wolf right now. So the gameplay tells you, it's hard being a wolf. The player doesn't want to be a wolf. Mm-hmm. Or it's not fun.
But the wolf is literally on the cover of the game.
Because they're trying to be moody. They were marketing it. You got to think about it. Also, the marketing team had their toe in this. Well,
now you're going off on a whole you don't need to go down this.
You don't think I got to go down the marketing side?
Because it's not important.
Okay, well that's fine.
To the point
but I just
you're trying to make.
Well, I just think if you're gonna talk about the box art, which I have as a poster in my living room.
Sure.
They had to sell the game, and the mechanic is wolf. Yeah. So they're gonna show the wolf.
Right.
But like, the whole point is. And they show that, like I've already said this, they show that on the character. He's chained up, he's vulnerable, and he's not himself. Yeah. So let's get out of here. Let's not be this character right now. Mm-hmm. And then later when you keep the shard after getting the Master Sword, which has the light that lets you switch. Yep. It's like you just use it to cheat the system and fast travel. That's what it's for. Because I don't think anybody ever switches to Wolf Link to fight enemies ever, right?
Only the shadow dudes, yeah.
Only the shadow dudes. So, like, you only do it when you have to, which is the whole point. Right. I feel like that's what they wanted. Mm-hmm. So when I see that, that's a very common complaint, like, this handles like trash dookie. I'm like, yeah, that's what they wanted.
I highly doubt Nintendo wanted their game to feel like, as you so eloquently put it, trash dookie. I don't think that's what they were going for.
I mean, I think
I don't think Nintendo wanted you to feel like you were having a bad time.
Not a bad time, a vulnerable and dangerous time.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
I feel like I won that point. Did I win?
Whatever you think, buddy. Yes. But I feel like we should take it to perhaps our future listeners, because this is the first episode.
Is there nothing... Well, let me check. There might be something else I want to bring up quickly, because I would love to end on a bunch of opinions from our listeners. Okay. If that's okay.
For sure. No, definitely.
Honestly, that kind of was my points that I was really pro.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, to sum up again, my complaints with this game, it's way too goddamn long.
That's just something that some of our listeners, future listeners,
obviously, we'll get into it, because I think that's a pretty common thing. It's too long. Yeah. There's too much padding. There's, the Zelda stuff in it's great. Like, I love the dungeons again. I love the music's incredible. There's some really great music in here. So a lot
Best Hyrule Field song.
I don't know about that.
Who has a better one?
I like the Great Sea from Wind Waker, but that's just a personal thing for me.
That's not a field.
Well, it's the same thing.
Oh, no, it's not.
And also, the Dark World theme from Link to the Past is a classic.
I don't know it.
And of course you don't.
I played Link to the Past
You don't know the classics.
I played Link to the Past on Game Boy.
That's Link's Awakening.
Oh, shit. Never mind. I haven't played Link to the Past.
Also, it's a great overworld theme, to be fair.
Yeah. But I mixed it up. Mm-hmm. That's wrong.
But yeah, no, I think, it's a game that has a lot of potential, and as someone who truly loves Zelda, who loves 3D, and particularly loves 3D Zelda, there's many times I replay Majora's Mask once a year. I'm always down to replay Ocarina of Time. I'm excited to replay Wind Waker, actually, on the Wii U, because you have that as well. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited. Skyward Sword, if they ever re-release it on Switch, I'll play it in a heartbeat.
I feel like they will.
And obviously Breath of the Wild is one of the great games of the generation already. So, despite my problems with all these games have problems. This is my personal final note on Twilight Princess. All the Zelda games have problems. Every single one. Mm-hmm. Every other Zelda game, I'm willing to overlook those problems and enjoy it, except for Twilight Princess. I couldn't finish it. I couldn't look past how bored I was in between all these parts I liked. And that's kind of where I'm at. Stand on it.
Here's where I gotta say.
Okay.
This game has the best writing of any Nintendo game. Mm-hmm. It does.
Okay.
I think I've elaborated on that.
This is such a strong point, but yeah, go on.
It is a strong point, but yeah. I will say Nintendo's writing isn't fantastic. It's not.
They're more focused on gameplay.
And that's fine because their gameplay can be amazing in other games. I've played
Truly.
Like if they could see my shelf over to the right, I have a plethora of Nintendo games that I absolutely adore, and they're all so fun to play.
Yeah.
None of them made me care about that much at all except for this game.
Right.
I only care about this game that much in terms of characters and what they're doing and what they want and how I can interact with the story and those things occur.
Yeah.
It has the best dungeons of any Zelda game.
Sure.
Which I don't feel like actually we touched on.
The dungeons? We talked about the dungeons.
A little bit, but oh my god, they're so good.
Yeah, I love them.
They're all good.
Yeah. They're all great.
But you think only 20% of the game is dungeon, which that can't be correct.
I mean, that's my very general assessment.
The math's off.
Sure.
The math's off on that one.
When was the last time you played Twilight Princess?
Like 3 years ago.
Okay, you don't know. I played it last week.
Finish it
because it's so boring.
Tell them why you didn't finish.
Because it's so boring.
No, the puzzle in the. Couldn't beat the puzzle in the fucking snow temple.
I did beat it last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he told me that he didn't beat it because...
that was a couple weeks ago.
He said, I dare you to beat this puzzle. I was like, those puzzles are for babies.
Yeah, and I feel we're getting off track, but
I just want them to know.
Yeah, no, and then I said, I beat that dungeon. I said, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, by the way, now it's time to go do this, this, and this. I said, no, I'm good. And I shut it off.
You turned it off.
I turned it off.
Well, yeah, I think... The music's absolutely fantastic, which I feel like most people can agree.
Sure.
The OST of this game is amazing.
Yeah.
Almost every single song's a fucking bop.
I agree.
Malo Mart theme.
Classic.
I'll play it for a few seconds right now.
Sure.
I bopped to that when I was 14.
Definitely.
Like, I definitely did that.
Doing the moves.
All the time.
Doing the moves.
What else is so good? All of it. It's good. I just can't convince you, can I? This game...
Is the point of the show to convince you that I like Twilight Princess? Because you're never going to.
It's not to convince you. It's just to rant. This game is just, it holds a really special place in my heart, which...
And I can understand that, because you know why? And maybe we'll end on a nice note before we get to our listener questions, because my favorite Zelda game, Majora's Mask, holds a very special place in my heart as well. It's very personally important to me, much as Twilight Princess is to you.
Yeah.
And you hate Majora's Mask.
I hate Majora's Mask.
Of course. And you know what? I can understand.
I gave that the old college try, a few times, too.
And I understand why
I
understand why you hate Majora's Mask, because a lot of people do hate that game.
Yeah.
But it's very important to me. And I could probably, if you had to listen to me shit on your favorite Zelda game for an hour and 20 minutes, if you shit on Majora's Mask, I'd probably be pretty upset. So I understand where you're coming from.
Oh, I'm not upset.
No.
It's just like, it's because I'm not going to lie, when I put this out, I put out on Twitter, give me your spiciest takes.
Yes.
And everyone was like,
at HaleyFacts on Twitter, by the way.
We'll plug at the end.
I want to plug you now.
Don't worry. We'll plug at the end. Holy shit, everyone hates this game.
Yeah, which was very validating to me.
I was texting my friends who I know like this. I'm like, tell me why you like this game, please, sir, because I just need some ammo to take this conversation.
Is that the segue we're getting into then from our listeners?
Yes,
listeners?
I would love to talk, because, I mean, a few of these things we covered, but...
Sure.
you know, our lovely, lovely people, our potential future listeners, kindly gave us their opinions.
And viewers.
Potentially. All right, so one of our first opinions comes from Peanut Bridle, friend of the show.
Peanut Bridle, what's up, man?
I think it's a fine game that feels, of the bigger Zeldas, the least like it has anything to do of its own unique legacy within the broader Zelda canon.
I think that's a very...
That's a take. I think you wrote this.
It's a very astute point, Peanut Bridle. Because I would agree with you. You know, people think about Zelda in a long way. Ocarina of Time, obviously, one of the greatest games of all time. Influential. Majora's Mask, the little sequel that could. You know, it's weird. It's got a 3-day time limit. It's, you know...
That game came out quick, too.
Yeah, it's crazy how quick it came out and how good it came out. Even if you don't like that game, it's kind of impressive.
Oh...
Wind Waker is, you know, obviously it's cartoony art style, controversial at the time. Now it's considered very good, and you know, obviously its art style lives on it. Skyward Sword, motion controls. It's crazy when people think, "What's Twilight Princess all about?" Oh, it's the one with the wolf, right? It's the one with the wolf. And
that is
I'm like, that's kind of what people
They do
be
be saying that.
That's a very good point, Peanut Bridle. Good for you, man.
Peanut Bridle, I disagree. Which comes to our next take. Eddie's DeSantiago at PIF Games.
PFI Games.
It's the worst 3D Zelda.
Absolutely, it's the worst 3D Zelda.
5 simple words. It's the worst 3D Zelda.
The best take I could ever hear, man. It is the worst 3D Zelda.
Do you think it's the worst one?
In my opinion, absolutely.
But like all the little 4 Swords adventures and shit are 3D.
No, they're not. They're 2D.
No, they're 3D.
No, they're 2D.
They're on the 3DS, for Christ's sake.
That doesn't mean they're in 3D.
But I mean, if you're gonna make that argument, they're even more D than the other ones.
Have you played 4 Swords Adventure?
I actually have on a
Then
plane.
you know it'd be in 2D. It's in 2D.
What do you mean it's in 2D?
It's in 2D. It's a top-down... Like Links to the Past is in 2D. It's the same as Link to the Past.
One of the 4 Swords adventures is 3D.
No, it's not. You're thinking of Triforce Heroes, which is also not.
That's what I'm thinking.
Which is also not 3D.
I think it is. I think it is. Triforce. Yeah, look at this. They're 3D. How are they not 3D?
Because it's in a top-down 2D perspective.
Just because it's isometric doesn't mean it's not 3D.
That's literally what it means.
Whatever.
That's
Thanks,
literally
Eddie.
what it means.
We just fought about what 3D was instead of hearing the point.
Yep.
I would say, I'm trying to think about what I think. I think Majora's Mask is the worst 3D Zelda, which, I mean, we're just polar opposites, I guess.
I think so.
Which is fine.
This isn't going to work. This whole podcast, this everything.
The relationship?
No, it's going to work. You're
okay.
great.
That's nice. I really thought you were going to break up with me right then.
Nope.
Serial Vasquez, friend of the show, says, it's the first game to make me think, wait, games can be too long?
Very good point.
Which I have to point out has as many likes as my post asking for questions. So I think people agree with this take.
Yeah, it is far too long.
It's pretty long. But because long. I like it, I'm like, yay, more of thing I like.
No, I love long. You're talking to a guy who's played many, many Japanese RPGs that are like 100, 150 hours long and loved every second of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but like, it's all about in the pacing and how it's done. I think this game really does do it poorly.
I think it do be long, but I like that.
Hey, if you like the world and you like what's going on, stay in it.
Jeremy Bull, friend of the show, he says that playing on GameCube was actually his better experience, and he didn't have to worry about any motion gimmicks or the overall horrible control situation of the Wii.
I mean...
We didn't really talk about the controls of the Wii.
Well, it's honestly, I remember playing it on the Wii and not having that much trouble with it, honestly. Maybe because I was like 10 and motion controls were so exciting to me at the time. I loved swinging. Like, I remember I loved swinging the sword with, like, you know, the swish, swish, swish.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It was great.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
I remember
using
that. The nunchuck to bash the shield.
Yeah, that was
obviously,
cool.
The motion controls get a lot more intense when Skyward Sword came out.
Yeah.
But I remember
intense.
Intense. That's
worse.
A very generous. I mean, better, but also worse.
It just, but I hate that game.
That's another episode.
I don't hate that game. I don't like that game.
But yeah, I remember quite liking the motion controls, Jeremy Bull. So I'm sorry you felt that way. Actually, the first time I played Twilight Princess was on the GameCube. I don't think I mentioned that.
Oh, really?
Well, I played at my uncle's house. It was a lot of fun.
What's your uncle's name?
Chuck.
Your Uncle Chuck and
Uncle
his
Chuck.
Wii?
Uncle Charlie. No, it was on the GameCube.
Oh, GameCube. You just said that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Shout out to Uncle Chuck. We have Unami Salami, friend of the show.
What's her name? I'm sorry?
Unami Salami.
That's awesome.
Twilight Princess is the thirstiest Zelda game in the series. Send tweet.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Everybody in this game wants to bone Link. There's the crazy Afro chick at the fishing hole. Midna, Zelda.
Zelda, not so much.
Well, she like...
I don't know.
No. Telma,
the big booby bartender.
Bartender.
I love her.
She is thirsty AF.
I love her so much.
Yep. She's also horrifying looking, but she is thirsty.
No, I think she's one of the few NPCs that actually looks okay.
I would disagree, but continue.
Have you seen her tits?
How could you not?
I know.
They're all over the place.
They even show Link looking at her tits one time.
I do.
Like, Link canonically is like, whoa, tits. I feel like Nintendo would never do that.
Men canonically are like, whoa, tits.
It's disrespectful to women.
What do you mean?
You're being misogynistic.
How am I being misogynistic?
I can say it.
Okay.
You can't say it. No, but I remember that scene and being like, oh, whoa, like, he looked at some tits.
Mm-hmm. There's also the ghost Zora lady. She's pretty hot.
She doesn't want him.
No, I want her.
She's dead.
Yeah,
she's a ghost.
She's a ghost.
She also has a son.
Oh, no.
Do you want some baggage? I just realized the light's off also.
Oh, no.
It's fine, I think. We're fine.
We're catching this on the recording.
It's okay.
Okay.
We just realized the light's off, but it's fine. Okay,
Oh, here's a good comment.
Yeah, this is a fantastic. I love these comments here. These are very. They're trying not to be mean, but they don't like the game, which is like you, but you're trying to be mean. So it's a little
I'm not trying to be mean.
Be a little mean. Joseph Aiden says, "I'm going to get hate for this, but this is my least favorite Zelda game.
True.
By a lot.
True.
The controls, especially on horse, which I agree, the horse controls are shit.
Oh, they're so shit.
Don't feel great. The tutorial is a slog, and oh my god, these dungeons are so frustrating, which I'm surprised that he doesn't like the dungeons.
That is, because I'm agreeing with everything you're saying here, Joseph. Except for these dungeons. I find that the dungeons were the one part I really, truly enjoyed. But if you didn't like them...
I asked him, I said, I'm just curious what platforms he played on. He gave it the old college try. He played it on GameCube, Wii, and Wii U. He played it 3 times.
You've given like $120, not $180.
He's allowed to not like the dungeons.
You're allowed to not like it, man.
I know. Sailor Sophie, Sailor_Sophie says, it's one of the darker games in the series given its teen rating, but has a fascinating story and an edgy and beautiful art style. I agree. Easily one of my favorites of the franchise.
No, that's a positive comment.
That's a me comment.
That's a you comment.
That's for me. Thanks, Sophie.
I wouldn't necessitate darker with good necessarily, but hey, if you like darky, grim, dark Ocarina of Time, it's all right. Go for it.
Yeah. Jill says Wolf Link is hot. I told her the empirically most correct take.
Sure.
I mean, wolves are just furry bait. Furry baiting.
Oh yeah, of course.
They're furry baiting. Wolves are the hottest furry animal. What? Anyways, Matt Thomas, friend of the show. It's everything I could have wanted in 2006, and boy, did my taste move on since then. That's fair. I like the scale and all, but it's just so dry to me now. It's kind of like what you're saying.
Yep.
Also, I don't understand how people say this is the best dungeons when Skyward Sword and Link Between Worlds exist.
Interesting. Great point about Skyward Sword's dungeons, which I also think are awesome and a very underrated part of that game.
The only dungeon I can remember from Skyward Sword is the one where you switch between past and present.
Oh, the pirate ship.
Was it yeah,
the pirate. And I think there's another one that also does it too.
Yeah.
And also shout outs to A Link Between Worlds. I've never played it, but I would truly love to. You have it, I believe. I should borrow it from you.
Yeah.
I really want to play it. I'd love 2D Zelda, sometimes more than 3D Zelda.
That game's amazing.
I really want to play it.
I think you have my 3DS.
I do.
Stew of Boo, at Stew of Boo on Twitter, says, when I got around to playing it, I found it super hard to get into because of how much I loved Okami, which has a similar wolf. Mm-hmm. We were talking about this too. I said to her, really interesting. I'm just wondering if it means that you have a high bar when it came to wolf character narrative driven game. She said, yeah. So basically in the afterglow of Okami, I felt this really weird loyalty to it. Comparing the two wolves was unfavorable for Twilight Princess.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're talking to a guy who truly loves Okami.
I need to play Okami.
I replayed Okami during our recent quarantine lockdown here, as you can recall.
Oh yeah, you were.
I love Okami.
You
to
were
me,
sad.
It's one of the best It's not a 3D Zelda game, but it essentially is a 3D Zelda game in many ways.
It's kind of like Persona 5 Twilight Princess.
What does that mean?
Stylish.
Sure.
Style.
Yeah.
Right?
It's got a lot of style. It's got a beautiful art style.
I can't believe I didn't get a resounding applause for that take. But anyways.
From who?
You!
Oh, no. Never.
Resounding single applause.
I love Okami. Okami is a much better game than Twilight Princess. Everyone should play Okami. It's like always like $15 on PSN, so everyone should play it.
It came out, what did we decide? It was 7 months before
Yeah,
Twilight
Okami
Princess?
came out 7 months before.
Yeah, like in real life. That's when it came out. Jason Cortar, it says, it's my favorite Zelda story with some lovely hints of unrequited romantic feelings.
I mean, hey, to each their own. I think the story is boring and filled with...
I like... Teach their own. You're wrong.
I didn't say he's wrong. I said the story's boring to me.
Oh, man.
You're trying to make me this hostile person.
Yeah, I want you to be the villain. I want you to be the one everyone says, Michael's
well, I mean,
mean.
Judging from these Twitter replies, you're wrong. So,
I mean, yeah, most of them are on your side.
Yeah.
We have some of these over in the Discord.
Oh.
The Media Marino says, Link was just made a wolf so people would take the game seriously. Which, I mean, yeah, probably.
I mean, obviously, yeah, that is a reaction.
And also because wolves are the horniest furry animal next to bears.
Next to bears.
They're up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bears is a term.
Read that next part, too. That's important.
They had to come back from the soft boy Wind Waker aesthetic, even though that's an all-around better game.
Absolutely. Wind Waker, despite also being a game that is clearly unfinished in many ways, it's like missing like 2 whole dungeons. It's pretty evident when you play it. But Wind Waker is awesome, and it's much better than this game, in my opinion.
Shut your gob. Anyways, Funk Uncle says, I've not played it and know 2 things about it. Some people on the internet want to fuck Midna and Link as a wolf.
Some people want to fuck Link as a wolf.
Ugh.
I know.
So, Chillouette, I know her name is Danielle, good friend. She says, I played it almost all the way through on the GameCube and briefly on the Wii, and I agree. Having a traditional controller made a lot of the seemingly unintentionally difficult parts less frustrating. Another criticism, Epona's movements were animated the same as Wolf Link's. Bad. All caps.
Bad, very bad.
And then the weight of the story and the wider world implied by it was a sick addition to the franchise, but Link's origin as kind of a dumb ranch hand in a weird little settlement of Hylians was an odd place to start. He had no connection to Zelda and never built one.
It's a very good point, Danielle. I think that, like Haley was saying earlier, Link is a side character in this story. It's not a story about him.
Yeah.
Where
even though you play as him.
Even though he plays him, it's really Midna's story. It's also Zelda also has very little to do in this story.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's a very astute point. Link and Zelda, and even Ganondorf, really to an extent, are very minor characters in a story about Midna and Zant.
Yeah, it's true. It really is about Midna and Zant, and then whatever's left over is just like what we get to do.
Sure.
Because I like the Zant boss battle at the end.
Zant's great, because Zant's a great character.
He's just like an insolent little child baby that didn't get what he wanted,
Definitely.
which is like a fun take to do.
Sure.
Well, I think we're here at the end.
Yeah, I mean...
Do you like it anymore? Be honest.
I mean, no.
Do you like it less?
I don't think I like it less. I like it just as little as I did before we started this. I mean, I didn't like this game for 10 years, and I still don't like it now.
That's fair.
I'm glad I replayed it to the point I did. I had some fun.
Oh? You had some fun?
I had some fun.
That's good.
I had some fun in certain parts.
That's good. I
really think if you can look past all the tedium, and if you like the tedium like you seem to like, that's fine. I
don't quite like you calling it tedium.
Well,
I call it fun.
That's fair. One man's trash, another man's treasure, as they say.
How dare you? But
the game itself is just not for me. I'll probably never, ever in my life replay Twilight Princess again. I can't ever see it.
Ever?
If they release like a 3D Zelda compilation, I guarantee I will skip over it.
So if they gave you like Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword or something, you would just skip Twilight Princess?
Oh, 100%.
Man, I'd buy that again. That'd be my 3rd time buying.
And it'll sit in the shrink wrap and you'll never play it. Because you want to play it on
because
the original Wii.
I like the Wii.
Like a weirdo.
I don't know. I still like... I'm not even going to lie. It's 2020. I still boot up my Wii sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that crazy?
No, Wii's great. Wii's a great little console.
It is a great little console. Well, Michael, do you want to tell people where you are at online?
Sure. You can find me at Mike P. Tucker on Twitter.
Ready to blow up.
I hope so. I don't tweet a lot, but maybe if more people are following me on Twitter, I'll be more inclined to tweet things.
There you go.
This has been really fun. I'm excited for our next episode. Do we want to reveal that now? Is that going to be a surprise?
Maybe we'll leave it a surprise.
We'll leave it as a surprise.
It's going to be a Michael favorable game that I don't think I'm going to like very much.
But maybe you will love it. And maybe, because don't get me wrong, everybody, the show could be, the next time, it could be a game that I like and Haley thinks is going to hate, but you might love it.
I might love it. I don't think I will.
No, that's super fair.
But it's a game, I'll just say it's a game I've always wanted to play because it's very highly revered.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm a bit of an imposter that I haven't played it.
So obviously, shout outs to Game Query for
absolute
we're
shout
under
outs.
their umbrella. You can find us. I'll also be on the Game Query Discord.
Yes.
We might be probing people for more questions on there, and of course on Twitter again as well. You can also follow the show on Twitter by the time this goes live, I believe. What's the @ for the show?
The @ is Game and Makeup.
Game and Makeup.
All spelled out. We got it. We got the @
We got the @ That's awesome.
I'm not going to lie, a little bit the show's named because I could get the @
Hey, that's fine.
I went through a few names, and that's the one I could get.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.
Did I host? A little bit.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you'll host next time.
Absolutely.
When we play your stupid game.
That's going to be great.
I'm Haley Fax on Twitter.
I'm at Mike P. Tucker on Twitter.
Don't talk over me.
Sorry.
I'm Haley Fax on Twitter. I also am on Game Query. I podcast with my good friends Blake and AJ, who all these episodes, as Michael said, at least for right now, are going to be going up on the Game Query channel. So the Game Query YouTube, Game Query Spotify, and Game Query Apple Podcasts.
True.
That's where you can listen to those, and you can follow us at Game and Makeup.
Awesome. Blake, put me on Game Query. I want to be on Game Query.
You're always invited to Game Query.
Well, now I have a reason to be on Game Query.
You proved yourself?
I got a query right now.
What is it?
Why is this game so fucking bad?
And we're out.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.